All right, let's call this kill kit discussion part 2. So one thing about going ultralight, if you will, when we're talking about hunting especially, is the situation is always dynamic. You might leave the truck intending to be gone for 3 days, but find your quarry, 2 miles up the trail. And so the ability to be a little bit flexible can sometimes play to your advantage in what you intend to pack. I always have in the truck a bag that's got pretty much all my kill kit extras. This is not something I'm taking on the hill. This is something that I can be adapting to the situation as necessary, depending on what we're finding once we get in the field. So things like a saw, a Silky's F100, very useful tool. If I know for a fact that there's, maybe the opener of the season is still 2 days out, we're going to be at least 10 or 15 miles in. We're not coming back until we've got 3 or 4 animals on the ground. We need something to be, helping with our camp and taking care of game, and who knows what. This might make it into a pack, maybe not mine, but somebody else's on the team, because it's a useful tool. But if we're only, the potential is we're only 5 or 6 miles from the truck, and the likelihood of needing it might be after we've harvested game and maybe on the second trip back in. I can pick this up to the truck. I can leave it out of my pack for now. Things like the heavier duty game bags, for example. If I'm planning on a situation where I know if I get a deer down, the intent is to get it back to the car and the cooler, then I can haul a couple of quarters of an elk or a deer to get it back to the car with just whatever I have in my normal kill kit, which it's probably going to be garbage bags, and I'm not intending to hang meat for some extended period of time. And then I can go back, and if there's a night in between or something, and maybe it's a long enough distance that I need to be able to hang the meat, and to save the time between then and the next haul out, maybe I'll take back up with me some more robust game bags so I can hang the rest of the meat, or maybe that allows us to continue hunting now that meat's taken care of on the rest of the hill, or on the hill for the rest of the time. We can be flexible. We don't necessarily have to leave the truck with it. Other useful items that may at the last minute, if we get to a trailhead and we realize, man, the weather report is way off, we're expecting a lot more moisture than we were anticipating, maybe throwing in a big but thin, lightweight plastic tarp. This, by the way, this 4mm painter's tarp is a good option to have as a backup tarp if you do need a backup tarp, at just 3.2 ounces. I believe this is 12 by 12. So things like that. Now, one thing that I did not pull out in the previous video, talking about what's actually in the kill kit, is fire starter. Now, fire starter is mostly going to be important for your colder seasons. I know I've got one in here. And a situation where you might need to start a fire in a wet or a snowy conditions. And so I'll usually have with me something that we call fat wood. This is a really highly concentrated resin, or the sap in an old dead standing tree that we can collect. If you see an old dead standing, you can get this kind of fat wood out of it, and you scrape some shavings, to light your fire. This will light even wet. And we actually did that earlier this year. My son had shot his bull elk, and it was nice conditions at the time when we shot the elk, but by the time we got to the elk and started taking care of the meat, it started to rain, and it didn't stop raining until the next morning. So we needed a fire, and we needed it bad, and so my son was able to light a fire with nothing but wet branches at our disposal because we had some of this fat wood. So little things like that, depending on the situation, depending on the time of year, might need to make it into your pack. But point being, there's a lot of tools or extras that don't necessarily need to be on your back in your ultralight pack setup that you may ultimately need and would be useful having prepared and left in the truck. And if that allows you to extend your trip, you don't have to go back home and pick up more game bags or toilet paper or paper towels or whatever you might run out of. Having that prepared and set up and ready to go in the truck, and something you can just grab, is a very useful system to try. So last but not least, I didn't get a final weight on this package. Being this would be my solo winter kill kit setup, meaning it's got the heavier weight gloves, it's got some more fire starter that I wouldn't usually have. It's got garbage bags instead of game bags, because my intent would be I'd probably just be coming out with one animal. I'm not going to stay back in for 2 or 3. Even if I have multiple tags, it's probably one animal, get it out. If I want to keep hunting, I got to go back in after that if I'm solo. So I'm at 1 pound, 8.2 ounces. Let's call that 1.5 pounds. So 1.5 pounds, including the bag of what I would consider the essentials for my kill kit, minus, I should actually add in, because I do have this on me all the time, it's my knife, the Havalon itself. So I'm actually going to be closer to 1.9. Now it's not going to balance. Let's see. Let's just what we say, 1.8.1, 1.6. So we're talking, or let's call it 1.9 7/10, or 1 pound 9 ounces and 7/10. Okay, so 25.7 ounces, if you want to call it that, for my kill kit system. You know, I've heard it said that you pack your fears, and in some ways, some of the items that I would carry in my kill kit do reflect that. I mean, there certainly are things in here that I could do without. I mean, I could shave several ounces off by just leaving things like gloves behind, but and I could certainly get the job done without rubber gloves, without extra paper towels, without an extra lighter. I mean, the likelihood of some of those things ultimately being essential is low. But you know, if I'm being completely honest, yeah, I mean, if I'm packing my fears, I'm packing an extra lighter. I'm packing a few extra calories. I'm packing a little bit of redundancy and things that just make my life a heck of a lot easier, like paper towels. I'm going to be packing things like rubber gloves to keep things clean, you know, germ-free, if you will. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to get my family sick. I want the meat to taste as good as possible when I get it home. So we've had a really good track record over the last few years of meat being prepped well enough on the hill and then getting taken care of right at home. That, I mean, we have people that claim, oh, I won't eat deer, I won't eat elk or other game meat, and yet we'll feed them on a taste test kind of basis some game meat that they honestly can't tell the difference between it and a beef cut or something like that, because it's been processed properly. Not to say that we need to compare elk or deer to, you know, domestic meat products, but at the end of the day, a lot of the off-putting flavor that tends to be the culprit for people who say they don't like eating game meat it happens because of mistakes made in how it's taken care of in the field. If you're careful to get the meat off the bone quickly or cooled quickly, if it's hung and kept in a quarter state, if you're careful to keep it clean, free of debris, don't let it get fly blown, get it on ice as quickly as possible. We actually get it home and we try and process it within, it's going right in a fridge or a freezer until we process it, but it's being processed within just a matter of a couple of days usually. And so it's getting into the freezer bags and into the freezer very quickly. And we feel that has made a big difference in making, not only making our lives easier, not having the project drug on for months, but it also makes the meat taste that much better. Our kids like eating it. We eat the game meat now year round, and it's a healthy source of protein for our family, and it's tasty. It's something that we enjoy eating, and it brings things full circle in their importance in discussing, why we hunt with the kids and what its purpose is in our family and in our culture. So if you have any further questions or other insights, feel free to share them in the comments below. But think about having some sort of a truck version of your kill kit bag that might make your life a little bit easier. Thanks. Have a good day.